For an architectural home, the budget on this was very tight. But that meant we had no choice but to keep it simple. We didn't get a lot of moves. We couldn't go formally crazy or structurally complex. Very efficient space planning, very efficient structural planning. These are just first principles, and that simplicity is the architecture. When we first got to site, it was actually a blank slate. It wasn't this jaw-dropping beach site with sprawling ocean views. There wasn't spinifex grasses and she oaks. It was just a grassy lawn. The location in the coastal setting of Barwon Heads is inspiring. It doesn't quite have that kind of rolling coastal feel when you walk through this particular part of the neighborhood. But I think this house kind of counters that. It's a suburban scale, but it's not necessarily a suburban site response. This house responds in a different way. This house, like most of Barwon Heads, is in a flood zone, which meant that the house had to be raised a meter off the ground. What could have been a challenge ultimately became an opportunity. There were ideas about how the house had to extend out into the gardens. There's the kind of classic way that you'd build on a quarter-acre block, plunk a little square house on the top of it, and then leave the rest of the backyard. This house responds in a different way. It stretches almost the entirety from east to west and puts a lot of the private open space to the north. So it's a long kind of linear bar. One of the nice aspects of the house is it's somewhat silent on what era it's from. You could walk by it. Was it a 40-year-old house? Is it a 20-year-old house? Is it a 1-year-old house? That was intentional. That was part of their brief, in fact. They wanted something that had an element of like a mid-century modern character to it. The kind of pitch of the roof was carefully selected, so it sort of harkened back to that surf shack era. You could imagine the mid-century shacks that'd be in Janjuk or in Torquay. It's not racing at the speed of sound to try to break design barriers and make overly loud statements. We didn't set out to be boring, we just didn't set out to scream. Design's ultimately about balance, right? And the budget's a central weight on that scale. Now more than ever, the materials and the way that you construct things needs to be considered from the very genesis of the design. And by using the recycled brick, we get a beautiful outcome. It's a beautiful texture. It's doing the right thing by the earth. And the other reality is, it's the cheapest brick you can buy. We wanted the palette to have a warmth and texture, something that would age gracefully. This is a family home. And we knew the house had to have robust materiality. We have kids, we know what it's like, and it's a beach house. You can track the sand in. This is a house to live in, not one to gaze at. We have a mixture of external claddings, and the more cost-effective way is to use a fiber cement. And so we have a mixture of kind of lightweight in certain locations, and then in the more kind of high-touch, high-presence areas, that's where we brought the the cream brick in to give the house a bit of weight and gravitas. And a similar exercise was taken with the Tassie oak. We were considering a few other species and did the cost analysis, and this was the one that would warm up the space and kind of add that character that we were after without blowing the budget. It was a simple decision-making process, really, but it was one that was geared to respect the budget. Those things that don't cost much to get right, they're in this house. But it doesn't cost any more to just think it through. That's the point of difference. That's the design. There's a regularity to the house that's outwardly expressed in the beams and the ceiling and the eaves. The house is on a 1100 wide grid, and it gives the house structure. Even the joinery panels fall on that grid. It's economical, it's efficient, it's logical. The grid set clear rules for us to follow during the design, but the old adage of simple ain't simple definitely applies in architecture. And so there was situations around eaves and window placements and where the brickwork stops and starts that had to be carefully considered and resolved. That's maybe the hidden complexity of the house, but if you don't notice it, that means we've done our job. The process of designing a family home is always a tightrope walk. This is not a small house. This is not a big house. You can go to these different extremes, and we've all seen it. You can go into the kind of zealot world of sustainability where you have to live in a shipping container, and if you have a space more than 2 meters wide, you're being indulgent and wasting energy. And you can go the other way and McMansionize an entire site and be gluttonous. This house sits somewhere between those two extremes, and it's not by accident. So it's a house that we feel is enough. The family wanted to have, each kid gets their own bedroom, there is a second living area. The spaces aren't vacuous, they're not expansive, but at the same time they're not claustrophobic. And so it's this balance. Someone might walk in here and go, this house is too big, and someone might walk in here and go, this house is too small. But I think if you asked the clients, they would be Goldilocks. This house is not one that's just purely designed by sustainability tick boxes. There's a lot of really nice sustainable elements, but it's a balanced approach. If you look at sustainability in a way of just performance, purely on the numbers, this wouldn't be the best typology. But I think if you look at it on a more qualitative basis, what does it feel like to live in the house? That's the response here. And an example of that would be, if we wanted it to be purely about a thermal envelope, we'd be better off reducing the amount of external walls. So a long linear bar building is not efficient thermally, but it is a lovely way to live because you get a lot more sun. We have a level of insulation in this house that's well above the standard. There's the solar panels and the batteries. Then there's the wicking beds and the chickens and the kind of permaculture overlay. And I think that kind of melange of initiatives is something that really makes this house resonate. There's something nice about that idea of the way that spaces can make people feel and shape their lives. And be a place to create memories, the way that they can change your outlook or your emotion or your headspace. This house does have a calming effect for me. I would imagine it has a calming effect for the clients. And I think maybe that's one of the more powerful things that architecture can offer. That's sort of where it brings me back and goes, yeah, there is value to what we do. It's in a coastal environment, part of a thriving community. You can walk to the beach. You can walk out to your working beds and pick your salad for dinner. You can go to the chooks and get your eggs. You can gather around the dining table in the booth seating with your family and share a meal. It's simple. It's all you need. This home reflects just a beautiful way to live.